Hello and welcome back for episode 13 of our Let's Play, lucky number 13. And there will be some fireworks near the end of it, so maybe it's unlucky 13, but anyway, just to recap, so we got out here and we've hit 4 biomes now. We've done Midlands, the Lesser Flats, Lowlands, and Slopes. So now we just need to basically finish refueling here, and then we're going to detach and pick a new spot to go land. Now at this point, other than the highlands, we just have flats and poles left. So this time we're going to be doing a lot bigger jumps, so we probably won't be able to get nearly as many biomes before we have to come back up and refuel again. However, it should be fun, and because we're in orbit, we can pretty much pick wherever the hell we want to land. So without further ado, we shall carry on with our mission. So what the hell is Highlands? Poles is that pink stuff. We landed in the Z. I tried to get to that, and that was Midlands. So Highlands must be this dark stuff. Which unfortunately means we're going to be doing a night landing. So you can see here we undocked from the mothership, and then I just gave the RCS a little cook to get us out of the way so that when we fire the engines we don't fly back and impact him. And I quickly plotted our maneuver node and did our burn. And then after I did my burn, I realized that we were still draining power for some reason, and because we're doing a night landing, I can't afford to be draining power. So you'll notice right about there, I noticed that the lights were still on, so once I shut those off, we stopped draining power, and we should be good to do this night landing now and still have lots of electric charge to do whatever we need to do afterwards. So we will carry on. God, this is going to be sketchy. I'm going to have to pretty much do this. I think I'm pretty much going to do this by instruments. I might click on the lights like right at the last minute, but they actually chew up a lot of power, so... but we know we're 9,000 meters up. We know we're 2.5 minutes out from crashing. so we're just gonna fast forward, because it's pitch black, and basically all that happened was I was starting to fall short, where I wasn't actually gonna land on the highlands peak there. I was actually gonna come in on the slopes. So I tried to do a bit of a correction, but I actually cocked it up and burned the wrong direction and made it even worse. So then I had to spin around and fire the other way, and then I wasted a bunch of fuel, but we finally were headed towards the highlands. There we go, we're finally in the highlands. After me screwing up multiple times, and we're also only 70 meters from the surface. 50, 40, holy crap, we are really close to the ground. We are literally 20 meters up right now, according to the instruments. And... I think we're bouncing. Yeah, cool. Alright, so turn off SAS. Cool, so we still have 70 power, so that's good. And we are landed, so that's good. And we're in the highlands, which is even better. I can't see anything, nor can I turn the lights on, which is really annoying. And it's the same old song and dance of collecting all our science, which is getting really monotonous. I probably should just start cutting this stuff out, but I wanted to keep this mission more live, so that's why we're getting a whole bunch of fast forward bits. Cool, so we wasted a lot of fuel there. However, we got the highlands, so we're done with that shit. Now I want to launch over there. So at this point, this is a bit ballsy, we're essentially going for another second nighttime landing by jumping over to those other flats. However, now that we got the lights turned off, we should be okay on power. I never actually realized how much power those lights chew up. However, we definitely have enough to land, so if worse comes to worse and we chew up too much power during this landing here, what we'll do is we can just sit on the surface and just wait for the sun to come up and then recharge our batteries and then carry on with the mission. And we're good. I'm just going to hard cut some of this out because it's literally night and you can't see anything at all. So we're just going to skip to when I actually land here. Cool. We are down in the flats now, apparently. So that actually was another biome in that little nook or whatever that was. So now we get all the flats. I am really running out of things to say during these fast forwards. However, when I EV'd Bob, I actually turned his headlamps on, so we could actually at least kind of see what the hell I was doing. So that was kind of nice. Alright, so we're still looking good on power. And we have about 600 meters a second of fuel. Now, we just knocked off the flats. So all that leaves is the Great Flats, the Greater Flats, and the poles. So I want to say this is possibly the Great and or Greater Flats. So we're gonna try and jump over here. Because if we turn this off, yeah, that is definitely flats. And it's also in the daylight, which is awesome. So we're gonna launch over here. And we should even see the sun come up. And at this point we're just doing the same old song and dance. Same launch, basically launched, but kind of went 90. Now you can see here I actually pushed it south a little bit because we kind of drifted fairly north of the equator. And there's a chance I might have to go back and refuel after this landing. So I just wanted to push where our landing spot is closer to the equator so when we launch up to orbit we don't have to do as big of a plane change. And you'll see here the sun finally crests over the hills. And we finally have power back! Yay! I mean, nighttime landings are doable. I mean, I just did 2 of them using instruments. However, they make for really crappy videos because it's pitch black. So we're going to do a little bit of a hard cut here because there was actually a lot of footage there. I wasn't using time warp because I was just kind of enjoying the scenery. So I took a long time actually to get over these flats even when the video was sped up. So we're just going to skip to right before I was about to land here just to save some time. Because as pretty as this game is, I'm sure you don't want to watch that. Cool! So we just landed in apparently what is the Greater Flats. So now we're just missing the Great Flats, whatever the fuck that is. But I also just remembered that I logged this stupid thing all the way up here with me to run a test and said I was going to get rid of it a long time ago and completely forgot about it. So we've been lugging it around this whole time. So I think it's about time we say goodbye to it. Good riddance! I kinda hope it survives. Oh! Oh no, don't bounce back at us. Oh now. If you take out one of my solar panels, I am gonna be really angry. Retract! Oh shit! Oh my god! Wow, it's just like... apparently it does really not want to go. It wants to stay with us. That was cool. Yeah, anyway, I just need to click science again. Wait a minute. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm a noob. I didn't actually run the test before I kicked it off. Can you run the test while it's on here? No, you can't. Of course not. Well, good thing I quick saved when I landed. Also, did I not have to run a test? Rescue, milestones, care. Oh. Yeah, apparently it's good. So, apparently I didn't need to quick load. I can just get rid of it. Good riddance. Oh, Jesus. Wow. That thing went frickin' flying. In fact, where the hell did it go? I can't even see it anymore. Shit. Is my F4 on? There we go. Look at this thing. Well, that was certainly a lot different than the last time. Last time it tried to kill us. This time it's just running the hell away from us. Apparently we have upset it and hurt its feelings for ditching it, and now it's just gonna piss off and jump 300 and some meters away. Well, time to take some science. And collect all day long. Collect all the science song. La da 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 da. I wish YouTube wasn't so stingy on the whole audio copyrights. Then I wouldn't have to sing to you to fill these gaps, because I'm sure it's terrible. Okay, so we are ready for takeoff, and we need to find the Great Flats, and I don't have a bunch of fuel to waste landing on wrong shit, so the best I can gather, if I turn these back on, that was the flats, this was the greater flats, and the lesser flats was that Z looking thing that we landed in before. So, in theory, that should mean this guy, which we totally overshot before. And I totally should have landed at whatever. We need to get to him. And we have 429 fuel. And after that, all we've left is the poles. So, I need to make it to him, and then orbit. And then we need to refuel to get the poles. Cool. That's our game plan. The only kicker is we're going to be flying backwards and out of the sunlight again. But our batteries are all charged right now, so that's okay. Cool. Let's go this way. Just back the same way we came, which kind of sucks, but... However, we're going to do a hard cut here because this is leading up to the second cock-up of the mission, where I had to actually revert my save, which I normally don't like to do, but there's times I make really stupid mistakes, and this is one of those times. Pretty sure I'm going to have to reload my save here. Just kind of did a check of the numbers, and we have to kill 120 meters a second velocity, which only leaves us like 110, which is not enough to get to orbit. So this was in fact a really bad idea. So we're going to load our quick save when we were landed back at the flats and replan this. So to get to the poles, I have to land and then basically take off north, land. Then we're going to have to take off again and come down here, land, and then take off again into orbit. So we need to do 1, 2, 3 landings. So we're going to need a full tank to do that. Get the poles. And it means when we do the touchdowns, I can just make it be this spot. So we are going to go refuel, which means we need to spin that guy around. And let's turn this off for now. So that's pretty much just a carbon copy of what we did last time. We're going to spin him around so he's in position, so when we launch we're kind of close to him. We're going to launch basically at the 90. We're going to match APs with him. He's at 12 kilometers, so we want to get up to 12, and we want to ensure that our trajectory actually intercepts with his orbital path so that we can make a plane change. However, in this instance, the point in which I had to do the plane change was actually after the point I needed to get orbit this time. Last time it was the other way around. So we're actually going to plot a orbit burn, and we're going to get it to orbit, and then once we actually intersect with them, then we'll correct our plane. But at least this time we'll already be in orbit. So I plot that burn and execute it. And you may or may not be able to see here, but after I executed the burn, we actually had a pretty close encounter, even though our planes were way out. However, I didn't really want to deal with that, so I went ahead and plotted the plane change anyway, and then figured we would just tweak in a different intercept once we actually got on the same plane as him, because it just makes things a hell of a lot easier. So we lost the intercept on the other side of the planet there, but we gained a new one right where we were, and I was able with RCS to just kind of nurse that guy down to 1 kilometer, which is more than enough that we can just brute force it in once we start getting close. So we did a little loop-de-loo around the planet, and I tried to basically close in that 1 kilometer gap on our intercept, but it was kind of pissing me off, so I ended up actually just giving up on that, and because we were only a kilometer from them, I switched to this screen here, and I basically just brute forced it, because we're close enough to him right now that I don't need to just keep orbiting to catch up to him. I can just basically point at him and kind of fire at him, and then it's going to take a little more fuel just because then I'm going to have to match his orbit once I get down to him, but it saved a bunch of time and I just didn't feel like pissing around with those intersects anymore. This was just a lot easier in my opinion. But you can do it however you want. Generally, as long as you're within a kilometer, you can usually brute force most encounters. So you can see here we're basically just set our target reticule on the dock, or set the docking port to the target, and as long as you just keep yourself oriented the proper way here, it's just a matter of keeping your vector in that target reticule. And then she should just kiss up on her own. Kerbins! They are docked again! Yay! Now I need to transfer fuel. Again. And because I don't think I actually covered it last time because I used the refueling as exits and intros to the episodes, all you need to do is alt-click the tanks you want to fill and the tank you want to use to fill them, and then just simply use the outs and ins buttons to transfer the fuel. And you can see in this case here, like because we're trying to fill 4 tanks at once, I'm using the out just so that it evenly distributes the fuel across the 4 tanks. Yeah, and now we're just going to hard cut to when the tanks are full because this took quite a while. So I totally just remembered that the doing the EVAs, because we're so low, I hadn't got any of the flats yet. So I actually just managed to grab the greater flats there, and we need to land. We have a hay on the dock somewhere, so we're basically just going to do an orbit now, and I'm going to actually see if I can get some more of these flats. And what was it? I don't think I have slopes either. Might try and get that too. And back to fast forward again, because this was incredibly boring. Basically, I just we did an orbit because we didn't need to land anytime soon, and anytime I already had the lowlands, midlands, and highlands, and I actually already had the slopes, which I find out later, from EVA in orbit. Now, but I don't have any of the flats at all, or the poles. So what I just mentioned a minute ago, I managed to get that one flat that we were currently over, and then I managed to get about 2 or 3 more on our orbit around, which The only one I wasn't able to grab was didn't have a prefix, it was just straight flats. And it's because it was that really tiny white one that we landed in after we landed on the Highlands. So that is literally the only remaining EVA from orbit that I missed, because what I did is, well, no, I don't need to explain that right now because it'll get explained later. But any of the ones that I'm missing, excluding that one, I will actually get in the footage coming up here. So we did I'm really glad I remember that, because that was an extra like 4 or 5 readings by getting those EVAs from orbit. So just, I guess, keep that in mind, that if you haven't got all of the biomes from orbit yet, you might as well do that too while you're just floating around out here. Okay, so we have I got 2 or 3 more EVA reports while flying. However, this one that we're about to try and land in is also one that I need to get while flying. So I'm actually probably going to get a little bit crazy here, and we're actually going to EVA Bob during the descent. Because he's crazy like that. It's also nighttime. So at this point we already had our trajectory coming down. So because it was nighttime, I just watched this screen, and basically what I was waiting for was us to actually transition into that flat zone so that we could EVA Bob here. And I think our impact time was at about 50 seconds when I finally crossed the threshold and was able to EVA him. Right about here. So he just grabbed that EVA report real quick and then got back on board, and then we just carried on with our landing, and we're going to cut back to live for the final descent. And as long as all goes to plan, we should get another. This will be the last biome other than the poles. Oh shit, I wasn't watching. Ooh. Oh, good recovery. I was trying to read my notes. Whoops. Let's not do that in the middle of a descent. Cool. Time to science horror stuff again. So, since I have nothing better to talk to, I just wanted to point out how gorgeous was that actual descent. That's actually why I didn't fast forward right to the point where we were landed, was because just as I was coming down for the descent there, just the way the dust and the light and everything was in the distance, I just thought that looked amazing. So I kind of wanted to leave it in there real time because it looked cool. Alrighty, so now comes the really interesting part, because we need to jump to the poles. And land, and then we need to jump back to the equator somewhere. So, north or south? South seems closer. Whatever, we're gonna go to the south. Which means we want to launch this way. So for the first time ever, we didn't actually launch on the 90, we actually just pointed straight south and launched south. However, because we were jumping such a significant distance here, I actually had to do it in 2 burns, so I kind of overcooked it a bit, and we actually went up to a 14k apple, which was way too high, but whatever. Them's the breaks, you just deal with it. So we basically kind of set that, and then I just waited until we got up to the apple, and then burned the engines again to push our landing down into the poles there. And then I also had to give it a bit of radial, which you can see here. I just wanted to twist it a bit just to ensure that we actually came down on the poles. Otherwise, we are set, and with a bunch of time whoppage, we are entering the poles, and I made sure to EVA Bob real quick and grab a orbital EVA report from over the poles. And you can also see the poles are really hilly, so we're coming down on a pretty significant slope again, which it's not a big deal at all. It just means you want to make sure you land soft so you don't actually bounce really funny and have to deal with trying to kill some sort of weird lateral velocity that you picked up landing. But all went well. We touched down safe. I gave a little victory. Yay, we're at the poles. And then we just went to work on gathering all our science. And at this point, we now have all 9 biomes on Minmus. So we just need to head back up to our station, grab our heat shield, and then it's finally time to end this colossal mission. Okay, our big challenge right now, though, is we need to get back on the equator so that we can actually get back up to the station. Which means we basically need to do what we just did in reverse. So I gotta try and launch back kind of to the equator, then we're gonna land, and then we're gonna take off and go to orbit. And then we will have our final docking, I believe, before both vessels finally return home. Cool. This should be fun. Shit, which way am I going? I'm going north. Northbound! And we are on our way to the equator. Now, originally when I did the burn here, I basically just aimed for some flats that were on the equator, which you'll see about here-ish. And then I flipped back to this screen just to make sure we wouldn't hit this mountain. I was actually a little concerned. It was fairly tall, and just the way we had our trajectory line, I just wanted to make sure we actually cleared it. But it looked like we were fine, so I just kind of enjoyed the scenery for a bit. And then once we got a little farther up here, after some time whoppage, I realized it was kind of pointless to try and land in the flats again because that puts you at a really low elevation, and you can see here there's a mountain coming up in front of us. So we had the extra DV, so I figured what I would actually do instead of landing in the flats is once I get over this mountain, I'm just going to hit the brakes and we're going to land on top of it because it's about 3,000 or 4,000 meters tall. So that'll just save us some fuel in getting back to orbit because we're not taking off from nearly as low of an elevation. And at this point, it really doesn't matter where I land, so we might as well just pick the best spot we possibly can. So here you can see we are finally coming down, and touchdown. Cool. We are touchdown. We have 235 delta V. We are relatively close to the equator. So now, we just need our friend to come around. Come here, little friend. I would like to talk with you. Oh my god, this is gonna be a huge time fill. So basically, yeah, this is gonna be painful. You'd think after me doing this so many times, I would start to get good at it, but apparently not. Because everything started off fine, everything went normal, and you can see here we got a good AP. And I thought about trying to switch planes before doing orbit, but that was stupid, so then we just decided we'll deal with one thing at a time and just get orbit, and then we'll deal with our plane. However, as you will see very shortly here, I really cocked things up pretty bad right about there. I completely overcooked the burn and shot us up to a ridiculously high altitude, and you will notice our DV is getting ridiculously low. Now, that's kind of shitty, but we do have a lot of monopropellant left still, so I wasn't actually really too concerned about it because even if we run out of fuel, we're in orbit now, and I can basically do the rendezvous purely on monopropellant because clearly I way overestimated how much I'm going to need to do all these dockings. So after a bunch of pissing around and fixing my horrifically bad mistake, we finally got a decent intercept plotted there and did a good old loop-de-loo around the planet. And I can't remember if I was still using fuel at this point or if I just went straight monopropellant, but yeah. Probably shouldn't do that. Watch your burns, kids. Don't overcook stuff. That just leads to lots of wasted fuel and a pain in the ass. But I like to just deal with my mistakes unless it's a catastrophic mission failure mistake. So that's why I just went ahead and did it or left it and dealt with it, because I knew that we still had enough monopropellant to make everything work and we were fine. So we are finally in range of the station here and coming in for our very last rendezvous dock, where we are going to grab our heat shield and a little bit of fuel, and then we are going to start our journey home, because there is literally zero science left at Minmus. We have now harvested absolutely everything. And I can't wait to actually get back and see how much science we actually yielded from this whole endeavor. Huzzah! We made it back with I think it was 9 meters a second delta V left. Cool beans. So this guy needs 160 delta V, but it's got to be distributed evenly. So at this point I basically knew how much DV I needed, but I didn't know how many units of fuel I needed, and I also need to ensure that the fuel was distributed evenly between the 4 tanks, because there's no fuel lines. So I need to make sure all 4 spark engines burn at the same, basically have the same amount of fuel. So I basically did a test where I basically just transferred some fuel over to the lander, and then I actually undock it right about here. And once I undock it, I can see the numbers, and I have 61 units of fuel and about 500 DV. So I only need about half of that would be 30 units and 250 DV, but I only need about 160, so I just kind of rounded down and said, okay, I want about 25 units of fuel distributed across 4 tanks, so divide by 4, you get about 6 units a tank. So that was kind of my conclusion. We basically put 6 units of fuel into each tank, and now we're going to check it. Go a little over just cuz. Cool. Stop. And undock. 255. Perfect. So at this point we just need to basically, well, I've already undocked, but we just need to spin around and actually go redock with the ship, but we're going to dock on the heat shield end so that we can actually pick up our lovely heat shield, which shall help us get home in one piece. And once I get docked onto that sucker, we should quite literally be completely done with this mission. It's just a matter of breaking the 2 vessels apart again and sending them both home. And I kind of botched the first approach, so here we go again. Oh! Alright, well, we got it that time. Cool. Anyway, what we're going to do here is decouple this guy. And in a very Apollo-ish way, it's going to just pull away from the cylinder. We can actually use our Sercease to kind of give it a kick here if we really want. So that's basically the idea, is when we actually come back for re-entry, we're actually going to go nose first and have this guy in the fire. And I have tested it, and it actually keeps the fire, like the fire kind of actually wicks back in, but apparently it's not hot enough really anymore to matter, so the heat shield just takes the brunt of it. Now, we are going to have a problem with re-entry actually, in that that heat shield weighs, what was it, 2.5 tons or something like that, and that is ridiculously heavy. And the problem is I don't have any reaction wheels on this thing, because it was only really meant to be hanging out over here, which it didn't need them. So my problem is that the getting rid of that heat shield is actually a bit of a problem, because I'm not actually going to land with it. Like, once we go through the fire, we're just going to kick it off. However, for me to kick it off, I need to then kind of like rotate the craft to kind of throw it to the side, and I found that's actually really difficult to do. So that's going to be really interesting when we try to actually bring this guy back. But we should have 160. Let's go that way. Why is it on a wicked angle? Oh, because Minmus is probably on a weird plane right now. So 73, that's good enough. Because we'll just be fine-tuning it anyway. So, where are we? Are we sufficiently away from that guy? Because we're going to be burning this away in 12 minutes. Yeah, we should be good. So now it's just a matter of getting around to our burn here, our maneuver node, and actually doing our burn and setting our return course. Which, at that point, once this guy drops in, I'm probably just going to hard cut to when we're actually back at Kerbin. Cool. Looks like we all set to go home. Just hoping this actually works. Oh my god. This is really not good. Why do I not have control? I have electric charge. I have a signal. Oh shit. It was on I was still on time warp. Oh man, I'm a noob. Yeah, they should not leave me responsible for recording videos. Anyway, we've hit the atmosphere, as you can see by the wondrous glow. I quickly checked the map screen there, and we're going to be probably nowhere near KSC, which kind of sucks. Because the whole point of bringing these guys back is to actually try and get some money back for the parts. However, we're hitting on the wrong side of the planet. And if you watch, you'll probably see this will actually start to drift a bit. Because as we're coming down, there's literally so much drag from that thing, and it's so heavy, and I have so little reaction force that it actually starts losing control of it. It holds it. Jeb's a pro. You can trust it, but he definitely has to fight with it. Alright, so we are through the fire. Now, we desperately need to get rid of this heat shield. Undock. And I want you to switch to, oh god, I think it's on the side of us. Where did it go? Oh, there it goes. Haha! Good riddance. So yeah, that was kind of the whole risk of that thing was it typically gets stuck on me, and that's bad because it can break stuff off. And we're still, well, that got us to 6, so that's not bad. We do have fuel, but firing these spark engines would be useless. I don't think they would even generate thrust. Actually, I guess we could find out. Oh, look at that, they actually did. That's fun. What about RCS? Slow us down! No, that's not gonna do shit. Wow. I probably should have, shit, I had landing gear. I probably should have deployed that. Although that was a much more comical landing. Cool. We don't want to plant a flag. What are we in? Oh, we're actually in Highlands. Well then. You should get out, Jeb. Can you take a surface sample from there? Yes, you can. Get back on board. Haha! Even more science! And yeah, that should be all we need. I think. If I ran these things? Oh, that's 1 science. Might as well take that. That's 0.7. Cool, I'll take it. Beggars can't be choosers. Cool. Time to go find out how much science we got. Oh, baby. Woot woot. So we cashed in 4,600 science for that endeavor. Which takes us up to a hearty 5K. And you can see the list goes on and on and on and on. Oh man, that's fantastic. That was so worth the effort. Well, we got 25% back. Could be worse. Definitely could be worse. Seems like some of the stuff you just get back no matter what. These ones are lower. That's weird. They both gained 4 XP. Cool. So, now we need to go rescue the tanker. Alrighty, so at first glance, we should be good. Like, way more than good. Because I only budgeted to save, what was it? 400, well, we need the burn. It would be about 600 is what I budgeted to do the burn there and the break, and we have 2,400. So, that's cool. We should actually almost be able to drop down to orbit speed with that. I really should have planted flags at each of the landing sites. That would have been fun. But it is too late now. Ah man, go to 160. Oh. Oh. Close enough. And then we'll bring you like that. And apparently we're actually in the atmosphere. That's cool. Or sorry, buried into the planet. Alright, so we're currently right here. We're going to lose comms somewhere around here. And then we'll regain them over here. So this thing's going to be a dead stick for some of this, but that's fine. 3, 2, 1, fire! Oh, I think we overdid it. Yep, we overcooked it. This guy does not have RCS. We are going to go this way. Because I could do a number of things. I could do a higher up, so like 50 kilometers, so that we gain some drag but not lots, and burn my engines in reverse, and essentially just bring our speed way down. Man, I should just drop in orbit. I kind of want to drop in orbit. Do I have enough delta V? I have tons of delta V. I should easily be able to do it. Yep. I think that's going to be the plan. I'm going to try and actually drop this guy in orbit. However, we need to get way closer. Because I know for sure an orbital entry. Orbital entry speed will be enough. It survived 2,800, so it can definitely survive 2,200. And I'm just thinking if I actually drop into orbit, I'll actually be able to aim for KSC and try and get a lot higher value back for all the crap on this thing. Because there's a lot of engines on here. If I can get a really good value back for these, that'll be nice. Why do we not have comms? We ran out of electric charge. Why did we run out of electric charge? Uh-oh. How is that? Why are those... That panel's getting light, is it not? Blocked by nose cone. Then why is there clearly sunlight on your... solar panel. Shit. What the bleep? I guess putting those things in there was a bad idea. Oh, not. Shoot. Thoughts. Yeah, that's not good. Like, I need power. I have to have power. Why does this thing not have power? Oh, think. What's gonna happen? This thing. I can't just let this thing go barreling back into Kerbin. Oh my god, this is not good. I do have a, because I actually took a break last night, I do have a save right before I brought the science vessel back down. But for shits and giggles, because this will probably be pretty spectacular. I'm gonna have to. Grrr. Because I'm gonna have to load that save. And then just I'll have to take the science vessel back again. Because I don't see any way around this problem, and I quick saved when the batteries were dead. So let's find out how spectacularly this thing explodes when it hits the atmosphere, pointing who knows what direction at 3,200 meters a second. Screw you, son. You gonna light up yet? Oh, no. Still gonna be a jerk, eh? Well, we are at 100,000. And we're actually surprisingly pointing mostly retrograde, but the problem here is I need to turn my engines on, and I can't turn my engines on. So, unless... What if we rotate? What if we rotate? Oh, we rotated. Quick, burn your engines. Oh, I should have turned these guys on. Oh, I should not have done that. Oh, crap. That was stupid. However... Okay, well, we're just gonna let this play out. Shit. This does mean, hold on, this means that I might be able to recover this. I might actually be able to recover this. Not like right now, but actually I might even be able to recover this. Although I'm probably going to reset it anyway, because I don't know what exploded there, but I want it back. And I also want to, well, I guess the dropping into orbit thing's out. Actually, was it only the solar panels that went? Do I really care about the solar panels? Looks like everything else is on there. Alright, we'll roll with that. I'm cool with that. We've burned off a ton of our speed. I'm just going to keep the engines burning though, because I need to get rid of this fuel. I don't want the parachutes to have to bring the weight of the fuel down on top of all these engines and shit we have. Cool. Oh, we are 23k up and almost at a dead stop. And now we're actually gaining speed. But I can't actually deploy my parachutes yet. Can we wiggle it? Get some drag? Yup. Yup. Do that. Whee! Whee! Come on, physics. Help me. Uh-oh, we're hitting the soupy stuff. I'm starting to lose the wiggle. We need our parachutes. Go! Sweet. I think we're actually good. We burned our solar panels off, but they did their job before they died. They got me some power. Oh, that's cool. Ha! Sweet. For some reason they're all sticking out perfectly. Well, yeah, cool. Well, that saved me a lot of pain and everything else. I am really happy that actually worked out. I would have been more happy if I was able to go into orbit and aim for KSC, but that's how the cookie crumbles. And we're at 5 meters a second, which is perfect. Come on, no explosions. We good? I can't see the engines. Oh, there they are. Yeah, we look good. Excellent. Well, that was a spectacular return, but it worked. So, I guess now we find out what kind of money we lost on wherever we landed. Oh, sweet. We actually landed, we got 78%. Right on. We're actually somewhere decent. That's cool. And huzzah! We are going to call that a wrap on our science the shit out of Minmus. In fact, other than picking up new science experiments, there's no science left on Minmus. We've literally pulled everything we can possibly pull at this point from every single biome. So that's cool. And it's been like 20 days, 25 days or something like that. So I probably have a whole new slate of missions to go look through, and we will figure out what we want to do next. But until then, ta-ta!